So last night I went to go check out the latest Spyglass horror slasher film titled Hard Eyes, where we follow a slasher who comes out once a year on Valentine's Day to hunt couples. And I'm gonna start off by saying that I actually had a fun time watching this. I wasn't too excited when we first heard about this movie, but the trailer did a lot for me and made me very interested to check this movie out and see, what was going on, because everybody loves when a new slasher comes into the genre. And while there are good things about this movie and there are tropes about it, and even on the surface level, it's pretty enjoyable, still think that the bad might just outweigh the good on this one and will probably keep me from watching this movie ever again. But before we get into the movie, I just wanted to say I apologize for the hiatus. This last month or so, there has been a whole lot of stuff going on, but I think that I got things kind of figured out and ready to go to where we're just going to start pushing out content on the regular. So if you are returning after all of this time, I appreciate you. Thank you and welcome back. And if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned with what we got going on. But back to the movie. As I said, initially, I wasn't very excited about this movie. Just seemed like another attempt at this slasher genre with a killer who probably wasn't going to be an icon. But when we did get that trailer, the first trailer, it kind of grew on me. The design of the mask I thought was really cool. It is a slasher film with kind of a whodunit factor. As I said, the killer was a decent design, and we have Mason Gooding. There was a lot to be hyped for. And with a 93% on Rotten Tomato, what could go wrong? Right? And now, sitting there in the theater, I gotta say I did have a good time. It is extremely cheesy, mainly in a good way, bringing in a lot of heavy cliches from the horror genre and also rom-coms. The characters that they introduced as our main characters I thought were interesting enough to where you do start to care about and get a little bit invested into their story. Olivia Holt as our final girl, I think, does a fantastic job in the role. She is definitely modern final girl material. Very witty, very aggressive, outspoken, very gorgeous, but by no means is she a damsel in distress. Mason Gooding as Jay Simmons was also a good addition and played his role in this movie very well, with a bit of this charming, hopeless romantic type that he was. And together, I thought that their chemistry worked at least well enough for the film. And they made a pretty funny team and managed to get quite a few good laughs out of me.
Get killed, all right. What was...
Why would he say that?
But sadly, though, I gotta say that is kind of where the positives of the cast kind of leave for me. Maybe other than Gigi Zumbato. She was pretty funny and got a lot of laughs out of me too. Kind of like London Tipton, Cardi B kind of character and vibes to her. The killer in this movie, who they call Hard Eyes, I think was a really decent killer. He was intimidating, he was brutal, and just offing people left and right. He was very Jason Voorhees-like, with a lot of raw strength and rage behind every single kill. His mask I thought was really cool, really different, gave him a bit of uniqueness to him. His kills in the movie I thought were fun. There was nothing too crazy or over the top about them, but they were very brutal. And I did enjoy his use of the crossbow, which was kind of his weapon, kind of alluding to this horror version of Cupid being on Valentine's Day, Cupid using his arrows. I thought it was really cool. It was a nice touch. The initial motive and what we got going on in this movie of a killer who is targeting couples on Valentine's Day, I thought was really a respectable attempt at trying something different, putting a new twist on an old lemon. But even there, that's kind of where the positives end for me. Something that I feel held this movie back was it was so obviously a rip-off of Scream, at least in my opinion. Initially, it would seem like a regular old whodunit type of slasher film would be exciting. Totally killer, Happy Death Day, hell, even the scary movies. But with this movie being under Spyglass and also casting Mason Gooding, and the ending of this movie, which I will get into later, it was basically a Scream movie set on Valentine's Day, but it was not nearly executed as well as Scream or Scream 5. And I mentioned those two for kind of specific reasons. Both of those Scream movies, the original and Scream 5, had who I think were very obviously the killers in Billy Loomis and Richie, but it felt too obvious, so obvious that you were kind of hesitant to go with that choice because you're kind of thinking like, nah, they wouldn't do that. It's too in your face. It felt too easy. The beginning of Hard Eyes does a really good job at kind of painting that picture as well, where who you think is the killer feels a little bit too obvious. It feels too easy. So you're kind of hesitant as to whether or not you think that person is the killer. But as the movie progresses, the cheesy dialogue and the, in my opinion, bad direction of these characters make it extremely obvious who these killers are, at least the main one. And even though I was anticipating who it might be, trying to figure it out, the reveal of these killers and who they are and their motive, it just felt so weak to me. It wasn't compelling and it felt very basic, very plain. It wasn't really creative at all, and it kind of ruined the entire movie for me. Which brings me to the ending of this movie, which, spoiler warning, I'm gonna talk about spoilers for the next couple minutes. So if you haven't seen the movie, if you care about spoilers, maybe fast forward a couple minutes. So this is your warning right now. But okay, talking about the ending. Now I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really seen Jordana Brewster in anything else other than the Fast and Furious franchise. And at least in those, I do like her. I think she is a decent actor, but here I didn't find her believable at all. Playing this bad cop and really trying so hard to pin everything on Mason Gooding's character, it was just so obvious to me that she was a killer or had her hand in this at least a little bit. And when it got revealed that she was one of not just two, but three killers, two of whom we barely saw in this movie, one who we didn't see, and one who just had a cameo type appearance, one scene, it was just so weak to me. There were no emotions at all going through my body at all, other than really. So we have this cop who's kind of an ass anyway, freaking janitor who popped up in one scene for about 60 seconds, who ends up being the husband of the asshole cop. And then we got some random guy who we never saw, not one time. We don't even know who he is. He just turned out to be some freaking fanboy of the couple and wanted to do what they were doing. I'm telling you, I was so underwhelmed at this reveal. And then we got their motive. Want to know what their motive was? Well, let me tell you what their motive was. Killing people on Valentine's Day, killing couples on Valentine's Day was just a kink. It's something that they like to get off to. It was hot to them. That's it. It was just so bland for me, so basic, and it ruined the entire mystery behind this very intimidating killer who I thought, at least as a concept, was pretty terrifying. I will say though that they did do something that I gotta give props for, the attempt to do something different. I just don't think it was executed well. It didn't land for me. I wish they didn't do it, but it is what it is. So during this monologue, the killers reveal which one of the killers did which kill. And while I feel like that was kind of Spyglass's attempt at doing something a little bit different, maybe trying to separate themselves from Scream, I didn't like it because I feel like it hurts the rewatchability of this film. Now, the thing about the Scream franchise is even after you see it for the first time, even after you know who the killers are, part of the fun of rewatching those movies is trying to figure out, okay, Billy was doing this kill, Stu did this kill, Sydney's cousin was doing this kill, Richie was doing this kill while Amber was doing that. Like, you know, the fun is trying to figure out who was where. By telling us right at the very end which kill you did and what you're most proud of, you take away the fun of that possible rewatch that I might have did. Now I have no reason to, because Hard Eyes takes away that opportunity from you. I just really feel like the ending of this film does a whole lot to hurt the film overall and hurts the momentum that the film was trying to build up. That's all I got for the spoiler part. So if you fast forwarded to this point, you're good now. Overall, I think I got to give this movie about a 6 out of 10. It's a fun ride. It does a decent job at establishing these main characters and getting you to kind of care about them and their backstory. It has good enough kills to keep you in your seat, but the ending does a lot to hurt this movie and does a lot to hurt the moments that came before. And in the end, it just kind of leaves you feeling empty and kind of let down. Personally speaking, I hate to be that guy. I wouldn't mind if they didn't do a sequel because I'm probably never going to watch this movie again. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But who knows, in the future, maybe it'll end up being some kind of guilty pleasure that I watched during the Halloween season. But that is all my thoughts on the movie Hard Eyes. If you did go see it, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below. How are you feeling about it? 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe I'm in the minority here. Maybe most people did like it, but it just wasn't really for me. But as always, if you stayed to the end of this video, I appreciate you. Thank you. Do me a favor and hit that like button so we can push this video out to more people, get a little bit more views going. Also, consider subscribing to the channel for me so that way you can stay updated on any of the future videos that I put out. Like I said, I think I found my stride here a little bit. I got everything in order this kind of last month, so no more 40-day hiatus. So you can expect the videos to be coming out. And I do appreciate you coming by. So thank you. But y'all know how it is, man. I am out of here. Y'all be smooth and stay geeked up.